Hello and welcome, students of Discovery, to your own platform, to your own channel, that is the Discovery International School, and in collaboration with the YCL, which brings to you the latest videos, the latest updates for the preparation of your JEE and your NEET. So for that, you have to just go to YouTube, search for our channel, and first of all, get yourself subscribed, clear? And you will be linked to our channel, so that in future whatever we do, whatever we post in our channel, you will be just receiving the entire things just by clicking this bell icon over here. Clear? So let's begin with today's lecture. Today we will be discussing about the alveoli structure in the lower part of the respiratory tract, and we will be moving into the mechanism of breathing. Let's get started. So, first of all, let's deal and see that what do we mean by alveoli. So, this single structure is known as alveolus, and this was the last part of the lower respiratory tract, if I say. So, this can be considered as it is actually the structural and functional unit of respiration. Unit of respiration in humans. Clear? Next, this alveoli is generally in the shape of either a balloon or somewhat spherical in shape. And if I take the two lungs together, there will be around 300 million alveoli together, both taking the right as well as the left lung. And if I say about the cross section area, that is the total cross section, the total surface where the diffusion of the gases will be taking place, so this comes out to be near about 100 square meters. The total surface area of the respiratory membrane, the total surface area of the respiratory membrane, you can say respiratory, that is around 100 square meters. Clear? Now, if we talk about the alveoli, so first of all, the alveoli is generally made up of two types of cells, and there will be a layer of epithelium covering it. So first we have to get through what is the epithelium name, क्योंकि इससे पहले जो हम लोग epithelium की बात कर रहे थे, that was a long stratified name, that was pseudo stratified columnar ciliated glandular epithelium which was there. But here we will be seeing it will be a very simple epithelium which will be consisting of your non-ciliated squamous epithelium. Non-ciliated squamous epithelium. This will be lining the entire your alveoli. So what is this non-ciliated? That is the fine hair-like structures which we were observing over the cells. It will be not be present first of all, and squamous means where the length will be equal to the breadth. So a square-like shaped cells, and they will be all flat. There will be no height attached to it, and they will be all arranging over a basement membrane. There will be a basement membrane over which they will be attaching. Clear? So this type of an epithelial will be known as the squamous epithelium. Clear? And it will be non-ciliated in nature. Next, now if I say that what are the different kind of cells which are present inside the alveoli. So in the alveoli, generally two types of cells are present. One we can see as pneumocyte 1 and the number 2 will be your pneumocyte 2. What are their functions? Pneumocyte 1 is mainly responsible in your respiration, like helping in the diffusion. So they will be mainly involving in the direct respiration process. And the pneumocyte 2 actually it secretes a chemical. It secretes a chemical, and this chemical will be known as the surfactant. Surfactant. Generally, the surfactants which are present in our lungs, that is in the alveoli, they are generally related as the pulmonary surfactant. So this is your pulmonary surfactant. Clear? And the chemical name for this surfactant has been asked in the NEET exams lot of times. So you have to understand it by remembering a word that is DPPC. Clear? So in short form we can say DPPC, and in together the chemical name will be palmitoyl phosphatidyl choline. Clear? It will be a long name, so it is dipalmitoyl phosphatidyl choline, which will be shortly remembered as the DPPC. Clear? So the pneumatocyte 2 secretes a chemical, and that is your this surfactant. Now what will be the use of this surfactant or the function of this surfactant? So if we see the alveoli structure once again, so since they are small round structures and the epithelial cells will be covering the outer portion of the alveoli, so obviously in the surface there will be a tension which can be said as the surface tension. Surface tension. How this affects the alveoli? Now see, surface tension, if I write it in capital T, then capital T will be actually inversely proportional to the radius of the structure. Clear? Like suppose over here the surface tension जो होगा वो alveoli का जो radius है उस radius का inversely proportional है. Clear? So what do we mean by this? Now if the surface tension increases, then the radius will be decreasing, and if the radius will be decreasing, then entire volume of the alveoli will decrease. Clear? So there has to be a certain thing to minimize this surface tension, because if surface tension is not decreasing, then the actual volume of the alveoli will be retained. Clear? And then the amount of air that can be inserted into the alveoli, that can also expand. So which chemical is necessary for actually controlling the surface tension or actually reducing the surface tension? And that chemical is actually known as the pulmonary surfactant. which is released from the two type of pneumatite cells which are in the alveoli. Clear? So this DPPC actually reduces. What is the function of DPPC? It actually reduces the surface tension. So if the surface tension will be reduced, then the radius will be increasing, and if the radius will increase, the volume of the alveoli will also increase. You got my point? Clear? So this was all about your alveoli. We have to just remember one thing over here. See, suppose by any chance this pneumocyte 2 is non-functional or this cell is not present, then obviously the release of DPPC will not be present, and hence the surface tension will be increasing in the alveolar cells. Clear? And finally, if this cell is absent, so DPPC will not be getting secreted, not be secreted. And hence the alveoli will rupture. Alveoli will rupture due to increased surface tension. So this kind of a disorder is actually known as atelectasis. The disorder or the disease is actually known as atelectasis. So how is atelectasis formed? Now this is caused if due to the absence of pneumocyte 2 type of cells which is actually secreting the chemical DPPC. So due to their absence, DPPC will not be secreted, and hence it will not be able to reduce the surface tension over the alveoli wall, and hence it will be bringing about the rupture of the alveoli, causing atelectasis. Clear? Okay. Now, here is all about the alveoli. Now we will be moving into the next topic, that is the mechanism of breathing. So now we will be moving into the mechanism of breathing. And we know that breathing is actually also known as the external respiration, and this happens between the atmospheric air and your internal respiratory tract. So there will be an exchange of gases which will be taking place from the atmospheric air into our body and vice versa. That is, gases will be releasing from inside the body to outside. So we know that mechanism of breathing is of two types. Actually, this can be regarded as your inspiration and your exhalation. Or we can rather say expiration. We can say it expiration. Clear? So this is also known as, that is, the flow of air from the atmosphere to the body. That is, flow of air from the atmosphere into the body, or into the lungs. We can say, we can write it as the lungs. And over here we can say this is flow of air from the lungs back to the atmosphere. Back to the atmosphere. Clear? So this process is also known as your inhalation of air. Inhalation of air. And this is known as exhalation. Exhalation. Clear? Now, we have to remember that the mechanism of breathing, there are three sets of muscles which are generally associated with, or rather which helps in the process of breathing. Clear? So what are the muscles which are responsible? Now these are known as the respiratory muscles. Respiratory muscles. Clear? So these respiratory muscles are generally of three types. These are of generally three types. The first one will be the external intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscles. Next will be the internal intercostal muscles. And the final one will be your phrenic muscles. Phrenic muscles. And there is another name which is given for the phrenic muscles, that is your diaphragm. So this diaphragm is composed of a muscular structure, and that diaphragm is known as your phrenic muscles. RAGM. Clear? Now, we have to first at all look that where are these muscles present and how do they actually help in the mechanism of breathing. So let's start. First of all, if we get into the structure of our cavity, that is, there will be a sternum. If I talk about the ventral part of our body, there will be a sternum. Clear? And from where the ribs will be attached, so there will be the ribs which will be coming from the dorsal side of the body, and they will be getting attached over here. Clear? This ribs will be moving to the back side and they will be joining to the vertebral column over here at the back. So this can be said as the dorsal part of the body. Clear? And this said be the ventral part of the body. Now, so first of all, this flat bone on the ventral surface, that is known as the sternum. These are the sternum. Clear? Next, we have the ribs over here. These ribs are also known as coasts. These ribs are also known as coasts. Clear? And hence, the muscles which will be aligning themselves in between these ribs or the coast, they will be known as the intercostal muscles. Clear? So, if I can say that one type of muscles will be like, they will be visible from the upper side of the body. Like if we are telling, then they will be just attaching one rib to the another, the upper one to the lower one, with a set of muscles which are attached to the front. So if I see our ribs from here, then these muscles the first layer of muscles which will be seeing attaching the lower rib to the upper rib, that will be actually called the external. This will be the external intercostal muscles, that is this one. Clear? And the same thing if I see at the interior side. So here if I see this type of muscles which will be now attaching these ribs from the inner side, this green one will be generally known as the internal costal muscles. Clear? So if I say this is one rib, this is another rib, all the muscles which we can see from here, from the exterior part of the lower to the exterior part of the upper rib, these muscles will be here. They will be your external costal muscles. And if I see about the inner ones, then there will be the internal costal muscles. Clear? What we have to remember, these external and intercostal muscles are actually perpendicular to each other. They are perpendicular to each other. Clear? Like if I talk about, we can see over here, the green ones are the internal intercostal muscles, and the red one, they are the external costal muscles. Clear? So they are actually present, the inner one, and over it the outer one, that is the external. So both of them will be aligning themselves at your perpendicular. Clear? So next is our diaphragm. So here if I say there will be a dome-like structure, there will be a dome-like structure which will actually be present at the lower part of the thoracic cavity. So from here to the diaphragm, this will be your thoracic cavity. So this I can write over here that this will be the diaphragm. This is your diaphragm, and this diaphragm is also known as consisting of the phrenic muscles. So normally this diaphragm is dome shaped normally. It is dome shaped normally. Clear? That is shape like this is called your dome shaped. It is the normal structure of the lungs. So we can see that there is actually a cage-like appearance. There is actually a cage-like appearance which is by the ribs attaching themselves ventrally to the sternum, dorsally to the vertebral column. Clear? So this cage-like appearance is actually called the thoracic cage. This is known as the thoracic cage. Clear? Which consists of the ribs, which consists of the sternum, and which consists of the vertebral column. Vertebral column. Vertebral column. Clear? Now, we will be now looking into the thing in which how these muscles work and how they bring about the mechanism of breathing, that it during inspiration how these muscles work, and during expiration how these muscles work. So let us see. So first we will be discussing about inspiration. Inspiration. See, if I talk about the details or the theories which we have learned in the previous classes, that is in class 10th. There was also the life process one. So in that case, we can remember certain kind of points from here. So first of all, inspiration was that the movement of the ribs. It was something related to the ribs movement. And how do they move? Like when we inspire or inhale air, so automatically the ribs will be moving outward. Clear? So here I can say the ribs move outward. And we can say upward also. And we can say that the diaphragm will be generally getting flattened. The diaphragm will be generally getting flattened. So actually it is dome shaped. Now it will be getting flattened. So see, if the ribs move outward, upward, and the diaphragms get flat, so actually the volume of this cavity, that is the volume of the thoracic cavity, will be getting increased. So this two phenomena will actually be what they will do. They will increase the volume of the thoracic cavity. Now, we know that according to the gas laws which you have already studied in your class, in your chemistry lectures, that is PV equals to nRT. Clear? Where N is the number of moles. So if I take this thing to be constant, your temperature we can take constant, number of moles we can take constant, then from this relation we can derive a new relation, that is P is inversely proportional to V. That is, when pressure will be increasing, volume will be decreasing, and vice versa. So here also we can say that volume of the thoracic cavity will be increased. As such, the pressure inside it. So when the volume of the thoracic cavity will getting increased, then the pressure inside of it will be generally getting reduced. The pressure will reduce inside the lungs. So this is actually the pressure inside the lungs. Inside the lungs. Clear? And so this pressure, if it is getting reduced, then the pressure, that is the air which is outside, that is atmospheric pressure, it will now be forcefully entering into the lungs. Clear? Now, how is this taking place? Now, be it inspiration, be it expiration, the movement of the air is actually happening due to a phenomena, that is diffusion. We know this. And what is diffusion? Diffusion means that movement or exchange of gaseous substances from a region of high pressure, to a region of low pressure. So here also in the lungs we can say that simple diffusion is taking place. Clear? So if this was the normal position of the diaphragm. This was the sternum along with the ribs. Clear? Now when, and this is suppose your lungs over here. Suppose these are the two lungs over here. Clear? Now, if I say that during inspiration, first of all, what is happening? The dome shaped, that is the diaphragm, this is getting contracted. This is getting contracted. So first event over here that is happening will be how the muscles will react, how the muscles will work right now. So first instance, the phrenic muscles, they will be contracting. They will be contracting, and hence their shape will be changing from dome shaped to it will be getting flattened. It will be getting flattened. So the phrenic muscles will contract, the phrenic muscles will contract, the shape that will be from the dome shaped, it will be now getting flattened. Clear, first of all? Next, number 2 will be the working of the external muscles. External intercostal muscles. I can write like this. So they also gets contracted. Clear? So the intercostal muscles over here, they also get contracted. And if they gets contracted, what will happen in the movement? Now the ribs will be moving outward and a little upward. Clear? And the diaphragm will be moving downward. So the overall area of, or the overall volume of the thoracic cavity will be increasing. So there will be an increase. There will be an increase in the volume of thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity. And this increase in volume will actually decrease the pressure inside this. Clear? And due to the decrease in pressure, from high pressure, that is from the atmosphere, the air will be now pumped inside into both the lungs. Clear? And we can say that this is the process of inspiration. Clear? Now, let us now look into the next part, that is your expiration. The second part will be your expiration. So this will be the same processes will now be getting reversed. So here this can be dealt with that first of all the diaphragm. So the diaphragm or the phrenic muscles will now get relaxed. The diaphragm will be now getting relaxed. So from the dome shaped, or rather it was flattened during inspiration. So from flat shape, it will now be changing into again the dome shaped, we can say. So the phrenic muscles will first of all get relaxed, and thereby the diaphragm will again attain the normal shape, that is the dome shape. Next, the external muscles, the external intercostal muscles, they will also be acting the same. So they will again now get relaxed. And due to their relaxing nature, the ribs will now again, first of all, will go, move, rather move inwards and downwards and downwards. Clear? So if the ribs will move inwards, that is when we release the air, so the ribs are moving inward and your halka sa downward. And what about the movement of the diaphragm? It is again getting back to the normal, so thereby the volume of the thoracic cavity will now be getting reduced. So finally, the volume of the thoracic cavity will now get reduced. Clear? So due to the reduction of the volume, pressure inside the thoracic cavity will increase, we can say. And due to the high pressure region inside the lungs, now the air will be moving out through the nasal chamber and outside into the atmosphere, which will be a region of the low pressure region. Clear? So now the movement of air will be moving outside. Okay. So in both the cases, you see that I have only discussed about the working of your phrenic muscles, external intercostal muscles, and here also I have discussed about only the diaphragm and your external intercostal muscles. So now what will be the use of your internal costal muscles, that is the internal intercostal muscles? Clear? We have to remember that this will be only used, the working of these internal intercostal muscles which are present between the two ribs from the inner side, they will only be contracting and relaxing in case of forcible expiration. In case of forcible expiration. Clear? That this is the normal expiration when we release the gas. Then it is only the working of your external intercostal muscles which is taking place. But when we will forcefully, that is after the normal expiration, when we again forcefully release the air, then the internal intercostal muscles will come into play. Clear? Got it? So if I calculate that the inspiration and your expiration, what is the nature of this process? That is in terms of energy intake, is it an active process or a passive process? So see, where is the energy taking place? If I talk about inspiration, here both of them are contracting, and to contract a muscle, we will be requiring energy. So always remember that if I talk about inspiration, then your inspiration will be an active process. Why? Because it will deliberately using energy for the contraction of the muscles, that is your external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm muscles. Whereas if I talk about your expiration, then in expiration, both of the muscles are generally getting relaxed. Here, both of these muscles are getting relaxed. So this expiration, we can say that expiration can be again two types: normal expiration and your forced expiration or forcible expiration. So normal expiration here both the muscles are generally in a relaxed mode, or they are getting relaxed. So in normal, the muscles are getting relaxed. Muscles are getting relaxed. And hence this type of where there is during relaxation no energy is useful. So this kind of a process will be your passive process. So we can say that normal expiration will be a passive process. And when I talk about the forcible one, so in forcible, generally the internal intercostal muscles are contracting, and hence this will be an active process. This will be an active process. Clear? So just go through the entire video once again, and if still there are certain doubts related to the mechanism of breathing, just drop your comments after in the comment section of this YouTube channel, or else you can straight away write down to me on my WhatsApp, and I'll be happy to solve your doubts. Till then, again I'm telling, if you have liked this video, just subscribe our channel. You also share it among your friends, because all of you are sitting at your home. So it will be a fruitful to you also, and it will be better to help someone needy also. Clear? So till then, be safe, study hard. Thank you.